So, this is John Rigler, and I am a sort of a Bitcoin crypto DevOps guy. Okay, and I want to show you a little bit about what that means. It's kind of a new thing that's coming up, and so we don't see a lot of cases of this. And so things are a little bit different from what someone in the industry might see, right? So first of all, this you have your whole AWS infrastructure, But in addition to that, to do DevOps for cryptocurrencies or blockchains, it's just different. It's a little bit different tool set. So I'm going to start with this, just show you, because I happen to be running this. This is Digibyte, okay? I stumbled on Digibyte many years ago. It's not number one, it is number 138, right? So this gives you a pretty good view of what I would call a generation one currency would be. That would be Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin, but not Ethereum, not Tron, not Polkadot, none of those, right? Algorand, I would say, is version one. But this is very squarely version one. This is a fork of Litecoin, I believe. And they've done things in Digibyte to make it resistant to ASIC miners, to try to make mining more fair. It's actually quite clever what they did. This is a block explorer. And so by running a blockchain, I have all the information in a block that you could have in a block explorer because I have the whole Digibyte chain, right? You can prune off old data if you want, but I don't do that because Digibyte's relatively small. So this is an explorer. So I could, and this will show you certain things, like for example, this address right here. If you look at this address, it will tell you that it has 5,400, 54,000 transactions. It has that amount of Digibyte, right? 4,894. That's not something that's easy to figure out if you're just running the database, even though you have a full database, because you have to look at every block. It's a ledger, so every block is a transaction that adds or subtracts to the ledger. There's no point in the database where you have a total. You have to have your own extra database. So the people that run this Digibyte Block Explorer have made another database, and we're trusting them that, in fact, some of this information is correct, like the final balance, But they'll show us all of the transactions, right? They'll show us all the transactions they've found. And in version one of Bitcoin, you have, this is called a UTXO. So this is sort of an incomplete, it's sort of considered to be incomplete, although of course when you have the transaction, it becomes complete. And then this is like sort of the incomplete left side of another transaction, right? So, and that's how it goes. It goes from address to address, actually transaction to transaction, and I can show you that kind of here in a second. This is an op return transaction. So this is actually data right here. I don't know if this Block Explorer will show us what the data says. It should, but and you can see that right here. This one doesn't show us. This one doesn't decode the data for us, but that's actually text in there. That since this is a newly generated coins, this is called a coin-based transaction. This was the reward that the miner got for mining this block. And and again, this op return is a way within the system that you can put data in there. But that's not DevOps. That's something else, right? So let's take a look at DevOps. So I've got, here's the back end. So here is my Digibyte server. And by the way, you can come somewhere like here, right? And you can download a version. Or you can even compile it. You can get it off of GitHub and compile your own version. And you can do this on Windows, although I do everything on the cloud, on DigitalOcean. So these guys, a lot of folks use AWS, of course. And somewhere you'll see where you can get the full, you can run a full node, right? That's what you want. You want the Digibyte core, full validation, run a full node, right? And so it's saying you can do that on Windows, Apple, or Linux. You can run a full node on your machine, and you'll actually get a GUI. However, being a Linux guy, I always use the CLI or the API. And so most of these commands, they're all this, it's the same command, compiled a little bit differently. So in this case, I do have the Digibyte CLI. You also have the daemon that's running show up. I'm also running IPFS here. See Digibyte D, right? So you have Bitcoin D, Litecoin D, Dogecoin D, or Digibyte D. And in fact, the different versions of Bitcoin all call it Bitcoin, and so you might have to run this through Docker or something for that. Generally, you have a directory like this in your home directory. That's my Digibyte directory. You can monitor your debug log, and here we see the transactions in real time. When it says new best, that's the new block it's put out there, and it's block height, and so that maps to this, right? What we see here. If I can get back to there. So you could do something like this. You could take that. Take that height and copy, paste it into here, and you can see the same thing you can see that. Okay, so we've had 2 confirmations, and again, so this transaction, nothing happened in this transaction, right? Other than the Coinbase, they call it, right? So other than, only one transaction in this block. So, and you can see all of that information down here too. I'm going to pull this back a little bit. So if I say Digibyte, usually aliases CLI, and it's like sometimes I have to do this. So get block, right? Get block, and then I'm going to put that same block that I saw before. Okay, so it shows you the block in JSON, right? There you go. There's your block. That's the hash, the number of confirmations. So this is just maintaining this server as part of this global network. It doesn't do any mining. I don't do any mining. And I might have a password in the comp file, so I don't really want to show that to you. But it's configured right here. And then for different currencies, Sometimes this is debug, sometimes it's something else. We have wallets. So the wallet is where your keys are stored, and it's similar to similar to a wallet that you might have in like Koinomi or on your phone or something. But it's right here. So I can also look at this. So these are my unspent transactions. So the money that I have in this wallet is contained in these two unspent transactions, which I got from different places. So, these are all transactions I send to myself as some sort of test or to show something. And it's kind of interesting. You can take one of these transaction IDs, and you can go backwards and kind of see what I do with this server. There you go. Okay, so it says Frontera, Mexican salsas, hot, right? So it's got so this transaction has something to do with mocking up a purchase of salsa, right? I did a proof of concept for that had to do with marketing, right? So that's what that transaction is. You can see that in the op return code, and so you start in this left side and the right side have to be the same, right? So it's that minus that plus that. I sent, and I set this up. Like I said, okay, I want to send a transaction to here and here and include this op return code. It was just JSON command. You create JSON files, and then you can run them through the CLI or whatever. And then so here's, so that, this right here, I meant to say, I had an op return code that said product, one that says that, and if you keep going backwards from transaction to transaction, you can see you can just keep doing that, right? That's how it works. That's how it works. Now, so this is the crypto side. In addition to Digibyte, let's see what else I got on here. I think I've got BSV. This is Satoshi Vision. Although, yeah, it looks like I still have some blocks in there. The Satoshi Vision is it's huge. It's like allows you to have images in the blocks. This is the block. So this BLK0, this should be also the first block of Bitcoin. So if you, here's kind of a cool trick, right? So if you do a strings on that, you should be able to there you go. There you go. It is. So that's the genesis block of blockchain. The Times Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks. There it is. To show them that. Everybody will think that's cool. Anyway, I hope this helps. I'm going to cut this off. I don't know how long this ran. I hope this was useful.